Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Vu, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Vu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get over to business and let's wake up those football guys. Good morning, guys. What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing? It is Thirsty Thursday. It is the beginning of week 11 of the NFL season. Tonight, we'll be live streaming the Atlanta Falcons versus the New England Patriots. We'll see if the Atlanta Falcons have recovered from the beatdown, the beating, the drive the bus over, back that mother humper up on top of them again, and then drive over them again. Beatdown that the Dallas Cowboys put on the Atlanta Falcons. We'll see if they are recovered from that and see how they play against the New England Patriots, a team who some people are surprised is actually a really good team. I'm not surprised because I told you, don't bet against Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, one of the things Bill Belichick has always been able to do is be successful with quarterbacks that nobody knows, rookie quarterbacks. He took Jimmy Garoppolo while the great Tom Brady was on suspension, had him start his first 3 games, and literally get paid and become the highest paid quarterback in the NFL for a moment. That guy got injured, and he brought in a guy, Jacoby Brissett, as a rookie and won with his first game. He took a Matt Castle, and we've seen Matt Castle, and had a winning record with Matt Castle. So thinking that he's got a first-round drafted quarterback in Mac Jones and a great defense, a defense that doesn't make Mac Jones have to be the be-all, end-all, of course they're winning. Of course they're winning. Especially when they've got the Jets who, let's face it, they're not real good, and Miami who one season had a good season last year is back to being bad. So you got 4 cake games right there, 4. And now all of a sudden they're breathing down the Bills' neck. Yeah, it's like that. So don't be surprised when they win the division. And at first I thought my forecast in the offseason, the first couple of weeks, I thought that was off. But it's looking more and more like it was correct because they took us to overtime. And I think we're a good team. And Tampa Bay, had it not been for a bad kick, they would have beat them. And we would truly be talking about a totally different team than we are now. But be that as it may, the Dallas Cowboys take on the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, this morning, shout out to Miss Jackie this morning. She said that they're going to be getting some bad weather coming through Texas, I think today or tomorrow, and it's going to get colder. And she said, I hope that the weather doesn't get affected in Kansas City because, you know, we're a dome team. We're a dome team. Let's face it. You don't want to play necessarily out in the elements that you're not used to it. But I've looked through the weather forecast, and they're calling for a high of 58 in Kansas City. Not bad for late November. In fact, I think that's warmer than what it was out here in my man cave last weekend because it was cold as a mother humper out there. Anyway, the weather doesn't appear to be a factor. Now, the amazing thing, of course, is this is Pat Mahomes, the guy who thought is, already they've got his bust already ready in Canton, versus little old Dak Prescott. Pat Mahomes this past week, AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Dak Prescott, FedEx Air Player of the NFL of the Week. AFC, NFL. And, of course, Pat Mahomes last week, 400-yard game, 5 TDs. Second time he's done that. And he's only one of a few players to ever have 400-plus yards and 5 TD passes. Shout out to him. Shout out to him and his 6 400-yard games. Shout out to Dak Prescott and his 9 400-yard games, the most in the NFL since 2018. So we've got 2 offensive quarterbacks, and it's made up to be Pat Mahomes, Dak Prescott, but they don't actually play against each other. It's Dak Prescott against that Kansas City Chiefs defense that's been left wanting. and it's been kind of a disappointment. It's Pat Mahomes, who's had a lot of turnovers this year and has missed some passes and hasn't been the guy he was last year, versus that up-and-coming Dallas Cowboys defense that is ball-hawking, scrappy defense. So what are we going to get in this game? I don't know. It's a road game for the Cowboys. Kansas City's favored by 1. You got 2 teams that are coming off of big wins, blowouts. You're going to have the national buildup. It will be the national game. If you look at the map, Seattle versus the Cardinals, I think it is. So you got a little spot down here in Arizona, a little spot up here in the Pacific Northwest. Otherwise, everybody is watching this game. Everybody. Pat Mahomes had this to say about Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys offense.
First off, I mean, he's a tremendous leader. I mean, I think that you can see that even when you're just watching as a fan of him and of them. And so for him, he's a tremendous leader. He's been a starter in the league for a long time now. He's athletic. You can see that by the way he played in college, and he can make a lot of big-time throws. And so they have a great offense over there. They have a great team over there. So it'll be a great challenge for us to going up against them this week.
Okay. That's what Pat Mahomes had to say. Now, I want to play this. This is Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp going all in about Pat Mahomes versus Dak Prescott.
Who is the better quarterback right now, right this very second, Dak or Mahomes?
Man, stop. This ain't even close. There's not a general manager in the National Football League that would take Dak Prescott over Patrick Mahomes. He's younger, he's better. The guy's won an MVP. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's a Super Bowl MVP. You go back and look at the history of the game, the 101-year history. This young man is doing things no player has ever done before that's played that position. Everybody, Mahomes lost it. The NFL has caught up. He was just named AFC Offensive Player of the Year after 400 Player of the Week, 400 passing yards, 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
You know, he's the only guy that has 2 of those games. 400 passing yards, 5 touchdowns with no pick. The rest of the league got none of those games. He's lost it. He's second in touchdown passes, 25. Oh, he's lost it. He's second in passing yards, 29-40. He's lost it. That's losing it. Stop it. It's not even close. Dak is a phenomenal player. Dak has gotten better. Since 2016, he's gotten better and better and better. But he ain't that guy. He ain't that guy. Nobody will, under no circumstances, will you find a player that will say, or a general manager or a player personnel director that says Dak Prescott is better than Patrick Mahomes. Now, if you want to see how really good Dak Prescott is, put him behind that offensive line came to Super Bowl time, and put Patrick Mahomes behind the Cowboys offensive line and see who put up the better numbers. This is not even close.
Interesting. Okay, so, okay. I remember, I'm old enough to remember RG3's rookie season. They said RG3, the Washington football team made the right choice. They are set at quarterback for the next 10 years. That means he should still be their starter right now. That was 2012. That he revolutionized football. He was the NFL Rookie of the Year. He took the Washington football team to the playoffs. This was going to be the guy. Now, I'm not saying that Pat Mahomes, but don't get it twisted, because I know that's what some of you will do. I'm not saying that Pat Mahomes is going to go, crash and burn like RG3. I'm not. I was just pointing out that the things that people say and forecast don't always come true. When there's something new and different, it takes time for defenses to catch up. I had the drop the mic, I can die tomorrow moment in my life after that season. I was at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I was blessed enough to drive Roger Staubach back to his hotel. When you see Mike McCarthy, who's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he has to stop for a moment seeing Roger Staubach walking down the hall. And he's worked with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and he gets starstruck. Imagine what it was like for me to sit next to Roger Staubach. And you know what? One of the things that we actually talked about that was amazing in there, we talked about the pistol offense and RG3 and whether or not it was going to revolutionize football. You know? And I said to Roger, I said, you know what? I said, if I'm a defensive coordinator, when he comes around the corner, I'm going to jack him up. I'm going to lay the wood so that the next time that he thinks about coming around that corner, he thinks about coming around that corner. And after that year, RG3 was never the same. Pistol offense has kind of gone by the wayside. And it's on to the next thing. Pat Mahomes is an incredible athlete. He is an incredible quarterback. He is one of the best quarterbacks in football. But like everything, defenses have a way of catching up to you. You see the evolution of football right before your eyes. You see how things change. You know, it used to be that you would see, defensive linemen that are 340 pounds, real big fat guys. You'd see defensive ends that were 290, 300 pounds. Now you see guys, and you're looking at the new prototype, maybe, in Micah Parsons, who's only about 245, but are fast and physical. It's changing in front of us right now, how they come after you. They understand speed kills. Now back to Shannon Sharpe, who talks about, if Dak Prescott had that line that Pat Mahomes had, how would he do? Well, here's an interesting thing. Facing the blitz, facing pressure, there's only one quarterback that has more TD passes than 10. Nobody else has more than 9. That's Dak Prescott. He's got 15. So when you talk about dealing with the pressure and things, Dak is doing some damage. And I'm going to finish this morning's video off to remind you guys that this is an opportunity. This is the kind of games that you, as a player, if you're a real player, you live for. Because this is the best of the best that you're facing against this weekend. This is the guy, Pat Mahomes, that everybody says he's the highest paid player in football. He's the best. He's a generational talent. If you're not motivated to outshine him, to beat the crap out of him, this is Denver going to Dallas. Denver, they look at it and say, you got no chance. You're outclassed by the Cowboys. But they get motivated to say, hey, if we kick that ass, guess what? They're going to talk about how good we are. And that's Dak Prescott. And back to one more thing. Shannon Sharpe avoids the question of who would you take right now, today, not body of work or anything, right now, this season. And he talks about Pat Mahomes. He's, third in the NFL in yards. He's got 29-40. Dak Prescott's only got 23-41. Okay, I'll give you that. But he doesn't take into consideration that Dak had a bye week and Dak missed a game. So when you talk about yards per game, Dak actually has more yards per game. If you talk about yards per completion, Pat Mahomes right now has dipped a full yard from where he was last year, from 8.1 to 7.1. Dak Prescott right now, 8.2. Talk about touchdown passes. Again, Pat Mahomes has had 2 more games. He's got 25. Dak's got 20. Dak had 10 games, he'd be right there at 25. Interceptions-wise, Dak's got 5. Pat Mahomes got 10. Completion percentage, Pat Mahomes, 65. Dak, 70.3. But I want to remind you one final note here, because when we talk about this, you have to remember things change and evolve. This is what Colin Cowherd was talking about Carson Wentz versus Dak Prescott.
But it was as much about Carson Wentz against Dak Prescott, both in their second year, both really talented. And both were missing a left tackle, and both were missing a top linebacker, and both were missing a running back, and both have solid, not great coaches, and you saw clarity. One guy is a transformative talent, and one guy is just a franchise quarterback. Let me give you an example, and this is what happens all the time. We get fooled until something's side by side. If you were driving in America, it could be Wyoming, it could be rural New York. You're on a quiet highway, and a Corvette pulls up next to you, and you look over at that Corvette, and you're like, man, look at those mags. Look at that car. That thing is really impressive. Then it drives off. And then an hour later, a Maserati pulls up next to you. And you're like, wow, look at that car. That's fast. And you're thinking, boy, those were two amazing sports cars. But if the Corvette and the Maserati pulled up simultaneously, one cost you $50,000. One cost you close to $200,000. Mm-hmm. One is one of the fastest cars ever created. One's a sports car. Carson Wentz, he's a Maserati. And by the way, Dak is a Corvette. There's nothing wrong with Corvettes. Corvettes are fun and affordable, but side by side, come on now. It's not close. Let's be honest about this. Carson Wentz is a first-round talent, and Dak got drafted in the 4th for a reason. I know. Russell Wilson went in the 3rd. I know. Tony Romo went undrafted. I know. Tom Brady, he went in the 6th. I know. Joe Montana went 3rd. They are outliers, folks. You get what you pay for with quarterbacks. The first 2 rounds, that's where most of the great ones come from. Elway, Marino, Bradshaw, Aikman, Big
I'm just going to drink my coffee here.
Peyton Manning, Breeze, Aaron Rodgers, Steve Young, a #1 supplemental, Stabler, Jim Kelly, Bob Greasy. By the way, all the young people we like, Goff and Wentz, and Watson and Andrew Luck were also first-rounders. Come on, man. You sized those guys up last night.
Boy.
Dak was missing a left tackle, so was Wentz. Dak missing a top linebacker, so was Wentz. Dak missing a running back, so was Wentz. Both have solid coaches. And on the road, Carson Wentz is absolutely unbelievable. If you had a checklist of what you want your quarterback to be, size, one of these guys is 6'2", 230. The other is 6'5", 240, and more athletic, and has a better arm, and has better feet, and has a next-level it quality. You put talent on the same field, there's not always a huge gap, but you get clarity. Saturday night, USC UCLA played. You had Josh Rosen, and then you had Sam Darnold. And they'd both been great all year, but a lot of you felt Darnold is the guy, and Rosen's team can't win. And then you watch them Saturday side by side, and you're like, oh, Josh Rosen, he's more polished. He's more refined. He's ready to be the best player in this draft. Darnold would probably go 2, and he's going to be really good. But boy, he looked a little unpolished at times next to Rosen. I mean, this isn't close. We like Dak, but you got to love Wentz. You see this all the time in college basketball, where a Jimmer Fredette, a Buddy Hield, Shabazz Napier against college guys.
Have you heard enough?
Baller. Then you see him in the summer league against average pros, and you're like, he's not that much of a baller. Then you see him against like NBA players, and you're like, oh, he won't be in the league. He won't be in the league forever.
Okay.
Great. Last night was great versus good. You saw the Maserati and the Corvette side by side. It's not close. All right, let's say.
Okay, it's not close. Could we be saying that after Kansas City versus Dallas? We'll find out. But, yeah, Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen. Thank you, Colin Cowherd, for the morning laugh. I'm Mark Holmes as well. I got a lot of work to do and stuff. Got all these racks and things. And Nick Cap, I got a video just for you, Nick Cap. Oh my goodness. You know, I realize now why it's good to create that website. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, happy Thursday, friends. Be well.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Deju Vu Sports Report.